Here, I'll send him a link. He'll probably come on when he's ready. Welcome to Main Event Talk, everyone. It's me, Nathan, and we got Tom here. Hello, Tom. How are you?
I'm fine, Nathan. How are things over there in Britain?
Good, yeah. No nuclear bombs yet.
Well, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series here.
Well done to them.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
So, what's first on the list? I forget.
Okay, well, let me orient it. Hold on. Well, the big news was Catterall beat Prograis, and he got a well-deserved decision.
I did see the highlights, and I was impressed with Catterall. I think the scorecards are a bit wide, but obviously that was expected. It being in the UK.
Well, Prograis did well. He got one knockdown, but then Catterall got two. But yeah. Catterall, if you look at them when they sized up at the weigh-in, Catterall was much bigger when he rehydrated.
Yeah, he should probably, it was a good win. It was expected, is what we said last week, weren't it? I didn't think he would win it, as comfortably as that.
Yeah, Regis had his moments. He just, he kind of like slowed down a little bit, but also Catterall wasn't falling for all of his feints.
Yeah. I think we've seen the best of him. He's at the stage now where he's aging out a little bit. He's still a world-class fighter.
I agree.
Catterall is probably an elite fighter at 140.
Right
now. And how he hasn't got any belts is amazing, really, isn't it? How he's not winning the belts.
I know. Well, didn't he beat? No, he lost the belt.
He beat Josh Taylor, but he never won any belts.
Right. Well, hopefully
at
140. I mean, at 140, let's see who he's got there. At 140, he has Teofimo. No, that's welterweight. He's got, junior welterweight, Teofimo still holds the title, but he's got Leon Paro and Valenzuela and Puello.
I think he beats all the champions at this weight, to be absolutely honest with you, Catterall. He's good enough to pick up a couple of belts,
Right. Teofimo, I think, may be a little bit too much for him.
I wouldn't know. I think it would be very close. I think Catterall could do it.
Seriously. Well, that's what I meant. It would be a little close. I mean,
I think he should target the other champions, try and get a belt first. Target the weakest champion, get a belt, and then try and unify them. If you can win a belt at this weight, and win a couple of belts, then move up to 147. I could see him doing something at 147. If you take away the top guys at 147, which is like the top guy in it, I think he beats most of the champions there as well, especially the people like Lamont, people like that.
Well, over there at 147, you have Norman, you have Jerome Boots Ennis, you have Stenosis, and Barrios.
He'd beat Norman and Barrios.
Okay.
I don't rate those two guys very highly.
Yeah, I could see that.
So yeah, he should try and his next fight should be for a belt, definitely. Target the weakest guy.
Where is he rated the highest, and which organization?
I'm not sure. I think I don't know. It might be probably the WBA or something. But he's in the top four, top five of all the sanctioning bodies.
I'm gonna look it up.
He's got to be number one or two in one or two of them.
Let's see where it puts him. Well, really, he's number 3 besides Haney and Lopez in that pound for that area. But let's see, that's back in October. But I don't know what his ranking is. I mean, this was on ESPN.
He's in the top 3 or 4 of each organization, I'd say, based on that result. He beat a former WBC champion, so
right,
pretty high on the list, isn't it? I just think it's like he's not getting any lucky breaks, really, is he? You know, he's fighting all the top fighters, but nothing to show for it in terms of belts.
Well, you know, he here it is. Hold on, let's see. Where is he? Come on, baby. I mean, he can't. Yeah, there he is. He's below. He's let's see, at 147, he doesn't look ranked anywhere.
No, but he's only going to be ranked at 140 only because he's a 145.
Three. He's ranked 3 by ESPN.
Yeah, so he'd be in the top 3 or top 4 fighters. You know, he's only, you know, his next fight ideally should be for a world title at 140, which is what his last contest was. You know.
Do you think Haney would fight him?
No. There's no money in it for him, is there? You know, it's high risk, no reward. You know.
Yeah, it's true. But Haney won't fight Lopez either. You know, I mean, his mind is not right. I mean, after suing Garcia.
No, he's been stripped of the title anyway, or he's given it up.
Right. Well, anyway, that's where he's rated by ESPN. So, there it is. So hopefully he can get a shot at one of those guys.
Even though he should be the champion already, really. He should currently be.
Well, really, yeah, he should have been. You know, he did win that fight, and it was given to what's his name, who I thought he solidly beat in that fight. You want to move on to Campbell Hatton?
Yeah, this was brutal. I mean, it was a good fight, but I just don't think he's got it. I don't know. He's not going to win any British titles or anything, you know, domestically. He's not very good.
Well, he's wide. He was missing so many punches.
Do you want me to tell you what the problem is? He had no amateur. He only had 6 amateur fights. That's the problem. He turned pro a couple of years too early.
Yeah. How old is he?
23.
Jeez, that's too bad. Yeah, they're pushing him. Well, that's a case again of pushing him along too fast because of the name.
And, you know, he's only like area level, which is like below English level, 2 levels below British level, British title level.
I mean, his father had a good amateur career, right?
Yeah, he did. But it doesn't translate through the genes, does it, you know?
No, he's going to get really taken apart as he goes up against bigger talent.
I mean, that was only an area level title.
I know.
You know, and that's the troubling thing, you know, he's not got much going for him, really.
Well, he has a lot of heart. Let's put it that way.
Oh, he's tough. He's tough. He's willing to learn.
Tough, but his technique is not very good.
No, like I say, it's lack of amateur. If he'd had that amateur background, I think he'd be better. You know, he should go back to the amateurs, maybe.
Well, you know who's a good example of somebody who was brought along well in the beginning was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. They kept him fighting a lot of guys that weren't very good.
I mean, Johnny Nelson is the perfect example. Lost his first 3 pro fights, you know.
Right. But you see, by the time he got to the point where he was a contender, he could fight. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't. You know, if he was serious at that time, he was serious for a while, and then you know, he fell out. He started.
All I'd say for Campbell Hatton, what he needs to do is get on the small hall shows. You know, the really small shows on YouTube. Fight opposition. Travel around a little bit. Go and train in America or something. You know, go somewhere else, get some training, go on the road. You know.
Exactly. If he wants to do it, you know, I mean, it depends on what he wants, I guess.
He doesn't need to do it. I mean, he's got plenty of money.
Right. I mean, not every fighter who had a short amateur career has, you know, not every one of those has.
Not everyone's Rocky Marciano, though, you know.
No, or even Fabio Wardley. I mean, he's doing
Fabio Wardley, yeah. But the difference is Fabio had heart. He had a good teacher. He had good people around him like Dillian White, you know, top world class sparring. I think Campbell Hatton's just been thrown in the spotlight. You know, he can do something. You know, if he changes his track, makes a few changes. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not for lack of will or toughness.
No,
it's really lack of training with him.
I mean, I've seen people with, you know, not so much ability win world titles, haven't we? You know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
it can be done. I just think people, he can do it. He can probably get to British title level if he changes some things up, but he'll never get to world or European sort of level.
Well, we'll see. I don't have a lot of faith in it. I've been with both brothers, they're kind of like in the same boat. And I think too much name recognition. It's like Tim Tszyu did well, right? But his father wasn't to help him. But he had some decent people to train him, although they didn't train him well.
Tim Tszyu won a world title. There's leagues of differences in this. There's no comparison really.
I know. All right. So last week, remember we were talking about, I brought up that Dubois could fight Wardley. Remember that?
Oh God, yeah.
And now that it looks like they're going to do it.
If you look down at the bottom of the rankings, they may not choose him, but he's high on the list. But Guido, if you look at the rankings, Guido Vinello is ranked 15th. He would be a perfect opponent.
Vinello? Yeah. Vinello is strong, though.
It would be better. It would be a better opponent. Or even Justice Huni would be a better choice.
For who? Wardley or for Dubois?
For Dubois.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
Because he beat that guy who nearly beat him when Dubois was the WBA champion, Kevin Lerena.
Right.
So Justice Huni beat Kevin Lerena in his last fight. So I think that would be a perfect stylist to fight. Frank Sanchez is too boring. Adric Cabiol's too risky at this stage.
Yeah.
Not too risky, but there's no reward for fighting him,
No, you got Ruiz, Miller, Cabiel, Barcoli, Zhang, Joshua, Parker,
Zhang is too dangerous. I'd say Joseph Parker would be the best one.
Perhaps. Yeah, Parker, I think, is a better boxer.
Yeah, I think that would be a much tougher fight for him, and I think he'd win. But it would be better for him, to fight somebody who you keep fighting the world-class people,
Right. Well, what's his name? Wardley has a puncher's chance.
Yeah, but other than that, very little chance. He's tough, but I just think Dubois would get him out of there in about 4 or 5 rounds. It would just be an easy defense.
Right.
In my opinion, Wardley's not ready for that level. He needs another year, another 3 or 4 tough fights, against people who've got resistance.
I don't believe Anderson is rated below Wardley. That's pretty.
Who? Yeah, he is.
Jared Anderson dropped.
Yeah, Jared Anderson.
He's got a big ladder to climb here against these guys.
It wouldn't be a good idea for Jared Anderson to fight. It's not a good idea for a guy coming off a loss to fight for a world title, unless it's a contract.
What stupidity was it to put Anderson in with Bakoli? I mean, that was a stupid move.
It was Turki Al-Shai who suggested it.
Oh, man, that was a bad suggestion. If I was his manager, I would have turned it down.
Yeah, Bob Arum didn't want the fight.
Well, Arum knows what he's doing. I mean, any of those guys, Ergovich, even Anthony Joshua, putting him in with those guys is just stupid.
At this stage, yeah.
Vinello is, stupid.
I think so. Wardley would be the most easy to sell, but it wouldn't be the best. It wouldn't be good for his development. If you're a fighter like Dubois, if it's a voluntary, that's fine. But you want to keep up some sort of standard. When you get to that sort of level, you want to keep a standard.
Yeah. Well, I still think it's dangerous for Dubois because if Wardley lands solid,
I don't think he's on the same level as Joshua. So I think he'd make short work of Wardley.
Okay, well, it'll be good. It'll be good. There's always the puncher's chance there.
But it is a horrible fight, though, isn't it? I mean, it's not a bad fight, but it's not exactly
right. Well, it's only because the both of them are coming off impressive knockouts.
I mean, Wardley is so green still, isn't he? He's so green still. He's still green.
And he hasn't worked his way up for a shot like that yet.
No, maybe if he should fight Chisora next. Someone who he knows, so he can get, some hard rounds in, It's always better to have hard rounds coming off a 1-round knockout, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes me wonder how many fights Chisora has in him. How many more punches to the head can he take?
I mean, Chisora, I'd pick Wardley to beat Chisora at this point. But then again, that's probably a bit of a silly thing to say. But, you know.
No, not really. Not really. I agree.
But it would be good because Wardley would get like 10 or 11 hard rounds, 12 hard rounds, which is what he needs. Not 1-round knockouts. The more 12-round fights he has with guys like Chisora, the more prepared he'll be,
Right.
Zhang would be a horrible fight for Dubois.
Oh, yeah.
Zhang is so slow, but he's dangerous,
Big danger. Big dangerous.
And stylistically, I don't like that fight for Dubois stylistically.
No, I don't.
Even though I think he would win.
Yeah, that's a rough call there, for sure.
I mean, Dubois had, beaten 3 world-class guys, isn't he,
Right.
in the last year,
Yeah.
I suppose Robert Wardley would be an acceptable title defence after having such a hard, year.
Exactly. Well, let's move on. We have a female undisputed flyweight championship. Are you interested in this?
I don't know the girls.
Well, it's Gabriel Fundora, the Fundora, the other 154 champions, her brother.
Yeah. Oh, Sebastian Fundora, yeah.
Right, yes.
I know very little about them.
Well, I'm just going to say Gabrielle is going to take this. She'll become undisputed. It should be.
I've seen it fight once.
So let's move on then. I mean, there was this article about since the last fight when we had, which is coming up this weekend, which we talked about last week. We had such a bad decision with Consao and what's his name? Consao and Foster. And
yeah, that was horrible.
It talks about basically how if AI was rating it, it would have shown how many punches that Consao actually landed, which was minimal compared to Foster.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why people resist like playback and I think the WBC had a good idea about using instant playback for cuts and fouls and things like that.
Yeah.
Why not? When you look at it, why not? It's like, did the ball pass the yard line or not? Were the punches landed or not? Right? I mean, that's boxing. There's fighting and then there's boxing. And it looks like they're rewarding a guy who was fighting and trying to land.
Yeah.
And they're not giving any credit to defense for Foster. So I don't know. I think at some point, that regulation would be called for because there's so much bias with judges. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
It's pretty odd, really, wasn't it? I mean, it was pretty strange.
Yeah. So we'll see what the future holds. So what do you think about Boots here coming for redemption against his last fight, Karan Chudazayazan? I mean, what's going? What? He beat the guy, right? So what's the big deal? I mean, is nobody willing to fight him here? Why? This fight makes no sense to me, other than for ego, or nobody else will get in the ring with him. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't get it. What's going on here, dude? It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way I could see it. So, so you're going to watch Bam Rodriguez fight Guerrero this Saturday?
Yeah.
If he wins this, he may be able to get matched for Undisputed. He's with Matchroom, right?
Yeah.
What do you think Matchroom could do for him?
What do I think Matchroom will
can do for him? I mean, can they actually help him? I mean, is there any influence he could exert on Turk Ali to unify?
Yeah, I think he could if the numbers are right.
I mean, the guys here in this division where he is, you have, let's see here, where is he? He's below bantamweight. He's in junior bantamweight. Now above him we have bantamweight and junior featherweight, which is dominated by old Japanese fighters.
Hmm.
You know, bantamweight, 4 different champions. You'd think they would have a box off, right? And then
they're not going to do that.
But Inoue has got all of them at junior featherweight. But
Inoue should move up anyway.
Again, well, he'd have to go to Japan to fight these guys. But he's got Martinez, who owns the IBF and WBA. That's probably, you know, he'd probably have to fight this guy Cafu in the WBO, and then they could arrange the IBF and the WBA with Martinez, who holds both. That would be the way to do it, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, if he wins, you know, which he should. Which he should.
Whether he will or not is, these boxers, that's what I hate about boxing, the politics.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, the only way to get around that in the U.S. is like to have a regulatory board for the whole country, not just the state. You know.
Yeah.
I can put that in because you have that in England, right? But we don't have that here. Anyway,
yeah.
What do you mean? Go ahead. What do you mean?
That's what I mean. It's like the politics just ruins boxing, and it always has. But Turki Al-Sheh has knocked a lot of that stupid politics out of it, hasn't it? Our boxing, you know.
Right.
For the better. If it had not been for him, we wouldn't have seen all these unifications and, undisputed fights that we've seen in the last year.
Well, you know, it started back with Ali when they stripped Ali, and then he was the people's champion. Then he gave up the WBC title so Frazier could win it, and then he came back, and then there was the WBA,
and they started coming along, and then they had 2 guys, Ernie Terrell and and Mishkin or whatever his name is, fight for the vacant belt, right?
Yeah, and then it was Terrell, and all that nonsense, and it persists, and then the IBF, whatever.
And then it goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it never stops. So Fury said that he didn't feel that Usyk, he didn't rank him as the best he'd ever fought. He gave that up to Deontay, and actually he said also. Did he say Derek Chisora?
Yeah, because these are the guys probably hurt him more. Usyk hurt him a lot. I just think he's losing it if he's saying that, Usyk is the best opponent he's ever fought.
Well, I think he's the best boxer he ever fought.
He's not the best puncher or anything, or, he's just a guy who can outbox you for 12 rounds, and take punishment as well, Usyk, there's a skill to what Usyk does, and, Usyk's definitely the best heavyweight in the world. That's why he won the fight.
Right. Well,
but Tyson Fury did say he didn't spar for it, but you can't make excuses after you lost,
Exactly. Well, we'll see. I mean, if his head's in the right place and he doesn't get cut, he should be fine. So the last thing I had on here was a couple of people are telling Tim Tszyu to retire to protect us.
Nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. He's a young man.
Say that again.
It's all nonsense. He shouldn't do anything of the sort. Just go back, regroup, change your training, have a couple of tune-ups, and find, and see where you fit in. For him to retire, that's just stupid. He can still make good money. And still have a good career,
Yeah, he can. I mean, he needs to learn some new tricks, but he can't continue fighting the style he's fighting against these other 3 champions. I mean, Fundora, he probably could have won. He should have won. They should have stopped.
Oh, he should have won, yeah.
But
this guy he fought is a world-class fighter, He's a guy, there's a reason why people never fought him, because of how dangerous he was.
That's true, my man. Very true.
We need, people are saying he's retired because he lost to a world-class guy. That guy would do that to pretty much anyone in that division,
Yeah.
Apart from Crawford, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think Crawford would outbox him. I don't think Crawford has as much power, but he does have one punch power where he can take you out. Well, I think he's young enough. He should take some time off, see how he feels, and then start training, but train with with a better corner because his corner failed him. The first fight with Fundora, and they also failed him by not getting him to change his style.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Not adding new tricks to move his head. He punches and then he stands there and watches.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, that's not. That's just the knockout waiting to happen. You know, you're going to get a sharpshooter in there that's going to take you apart. My man.
Yeah.
I'm running out of time here.
All right, we'll end it there then. Is that everything?
That's everything on the list.
All right, I'll see you next week.
Okay. I love you, brother.
Love you too. Take it easy, mate. Okay, bye. Bye-bye.